Breaking news on Tuesday, January 13th, 2026. First German Lynx IFVs headed to Ukraine this year. Funding for Lynx IFVs for Ukraine reportedly secured. First batch expected soon. Now, that is the kind of headline that announces more than just a delivery. It's a structural sea change in how Western support works. Before we really get into this, if you stand with Ukraine and if you believe in the future of European defense, please make sure you hit that subscribe button. Subscribe to Defense Reports, your go-to source for timely, in-depth military and defense reports. I'm here for another deep dive from the Defense Report team, ready for a sharp, no-nonsense breakdown of the latest in global defense news. And today we are going deep on the news that the German defense concern Rheinmetall has officially confirmed it.
They've confirmed the delivery of the first batch of their advanced Lynx KF-41 infantry fighting vehicles, the IFVs, to Ukraine, and it's starting early this year.
This feels like a story that goes so much further than just an equipment list.
Oh, it does. When you look at the sources, this whole commitment, which was signed back in December 2025 and just announced, it sets three massive strategic precedents that you really need to grasp.
Okay, let's unpack that. So we're talking about an initial batch of 5 advanced vehicles. Symbolism is important, sure, but why should this one commitment, just 5 IFVs, really matter? What are these cliffhangers?
Okay, so the first one is the big strategic shift in funding. This is the first time Germany has committed to fully funding the production of brand new 21st century combat systems.
Systems that weren't just pulled from their own stocks.
Exactly, not from legacy inventory. These are being built specifically for an active war zone.
Yeah.
And a total transition from aid based on what's available to a deep, long-term modernization partnership.
That's a fundamental change in political risk. It moves them completely past the old Ringtausch model.
Completely. And the second point, it's about combat endorsement. The Lynx KF-41 wasn't just picked from a catalog.
No, this was tested.
It was selected after successful, extensive frontline trials of a Hungarian-built prototype that were conducted inside Ukraine late last year. So this isn't speculation. It's a combat-approved decision by Ukrainian forces in their own environment.
And the third point, this has to be the biggest game changer of all.
It is. The ultimate goal here is establishing full-scale production of the Lynx inside Ukraine.
So this isn't just a delivery. This program is explicitly designed to create the primary standardized IFV for the Ukrainian Defense Forces, with orders potentially reaching hundreds of vehicles.
It's about transforming Ukraine into a major manufacturing hub for modern European defense tech.
And that's our mission today. We're going to analyze that industrial ambition, understand this state-of-the-art KF-41 platform, and really figure out what this means for Ukraine's long-term mechanized power.
So to start, let's just nail down the context of this initial deal. The contract was signed in December 2025. Rheinmetall confirmed it on January 12th.
And the initial order, as we said, is for 5 Lynx KF-41 combat vehicles with delivery starting this year.
And this is the crucial part. The financing is entirely covered by the German Federal Republic. Rheinmetall put the value in the mid-double-digit million euro range.
Okay, but a fair question would be, isn't financing just 5 vehicles, even new ones, a bit of a symbolic gesture? How do we know this isn't just PR?
That's a good challenge. And the significance isn't the number 5, it's the shift in the financial mechanism itself. Up until now, so much of the German support relied on the Ringtausch model, the ring exchange.
Right. Can you give us a quick refresher on what that actually involved?
Sure. Ringtausch was where Germany would send modern Western equipment to another NATO country, say in Eastern Europe, and in exchange, that country sent its older Soviet-era gear to Ukraine.
It was a workaround, really. Logistically complex and often politically slow.
Very. So by committing, mid-double-digit millions to build 5 brand new vehicles directly for Ukraine, Germany is just bypassing that entire mechanism. They are accepting the political and financial risk of being the direct primary funder for cutting-edge technology.
It signals a much deeper, much more long-term commitment.
Precisely. You can read it between the lines of the CEO's statement. Armin Paperger called the order a fundamental success. When he thanks both Ukraine for its trust and the German government for its support, that's diplomatic language for the German government is writing the first check for a very large, multi-year program.
They're staking their capital on Ukraine's future military. This first delivery is just the down payment.
It's explicitly framed in all the sources as just the first step in a much broader, localized procurement program.
So if Germany is co-signing the modernization of the Ukrainian military, it's not really aid anymore. It's an equity investment in the entire European defense industrial base, which takes us to why this vehicle, why the Lynx?
Well, the sources are clear that the KF-41 was chosen after that intensive testing in a combat environment. I mean, Ukraine already had some of the best IFVs out there. The American Bradley, the Swedish CV90.
So what did the combat trials show that made the Lynx stand out? We know the big technical advantage is its modularity, but what does that really mean in the chaos of a war zone?
Modularity here is it's revolutionary. The Lynx is designed around two main units,
Mhm.
a common drive module. So that's your tracked hull, engine, all the running gear.
And then the exchangeable mission module, the turret and the inside configuration.
Exactly. And this isn't just some marketing gimmick. It is a logistics solution.
Which sounds like the key to solving Ukraine's logistical nightmare.
It absolutely is.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. Their current fleet is a patchwork of gear from dozens of countries. Analysts call it the exotic spare parts burden. Every vehicle needs unique parts, unique maintenance, unique training.
By standardizing on the Lynx hull, you unify, what, 70% of your supply chain?
That's it. If a mission module gets hit, you just swap it out with a crane, send the broken one back for repair, and the vehicle is back in the fight. Meet a command vehicle, swap the module. It radically simplifies maintenance and boosts readiness.
So modularity is actually key to survivability because it allows for rapid repair. Let's talk about protection. The Lynx is a huge vehicle, up to 50 tons. That weight alone is a statement about priorities.
It is. The KF-41's weight comes from its layered, scalable protection. The base is high-hardness steel armor, good for 30mm rounds on the front, 14.5mm on the flanks. But the real defining feature, especially for this war, is the mine protection.
And we know mines and IEDs are just a constant daily threat on the Eastern Front.
A massive threat. The Lynx handles this with a decoupled floor to absorb shock and a V-shaped belly plate. And that V-shape is crucial. When something explodes underneath, the geometry deflects the blast energy out and away from the crew.
The sources say it can withstand an explosion equivalent to 10 kilograms of TNT.
Which is a non-negotiable requirement against Russian mine warfare. And it's built in from the ground up.
And it also has the latest countermeasures baked in.
Yes, it's designed for scalability. It's got things like the ROSY system, the rapid obscuring system, which uses multispectral smoke to break missile lock. But crucially, it has dedicated space and power for advanced active protection systems.
Like Rheinmetall's own strike shield.
Right. Systems that can intercept ATGMs and RPGs before they even hit the armor. It's built to fight in the most dangerous environment imaginable.
Let's pivot to firepower. The two-man lance turret is incredibly capable. But what specific capability does it bring that their current fleet might be lacking?
Well, the main gun, a 30mm, 35mm cannon, is powerful. But the real technological leap is its ability to fire airburst munitions, ABM.
We've seen ABM used against dug-in infantry, but how does this elevate the Lynx beyond that?
It's about precision fire control against air threats. The fire control system programs the round to detonate at a precise point in the air. Now, that's great for infantry and trenches, yes, but the real advantage today is against small enemy UAVs and FPV drones.
So you're giving mechanized infantry its own organic, local air defense against the biggest threat on the modern battlefield, drones.
That's exactly it. The fire control is accurate enough, the fragmentation pattern wide enough to take out those low-flying drones that are causing so much devastation. It just changes the risk profile for a ground unit entirely.
And, of course, it still has a machine gun and can mount anti-tank missiles like the Spike LR2.
So it can take on everything from drones to main battle tanks.
Okay, finally, mobility. How does a 50-ton vehicle stay relevant on the move?
It's heavy, but it is powerful. It's got a 1,140 horsepower LEAP-4 engine, which gives it the power-to-weight ratio to keep up with main battle tanks. It can do 70 kilometers per hour on roads. And its troop capacity is excellent.
3 crew plus, what, 8 or 9 soldiers?
Up to 9 dismounts. That's a large protected squad that is delivering right to the front line, ready to go.
So the Lynx isn't just an upgrade. It's a systematic solution to the headache of dozens of logistics chains. It's modular, survivable, and powerfully armed. And if modularity is the key, the only way to capitalize is through mass production. Which brings us to the industrial pivot.
And that's the strategic heart of this entire deep dive. The delivery of these first 5 Lynxes, it's just the down payment on the first step of establishing full production capacity in Ukraine. During a war, it's an incredible commitment.
What's the blueprint here? I mean, how do we know this is even feasible?
We look at the first international customer, Hungary. They provide the industrial template. Hungary ordered 218 vehicles back in 2020. That deal involved an initial German-built batch of 46 vehicles.
And then a transition to local assembly.
Exactly. Local assembly at a new Rheinmetall plant in Zalaegerszeg. And the sources confirmed that the prototype Ukraine tested was actually assembled in Hungary.
So I've already proven the model works. You can transfer the tech and have a partner nation build a combat-ready vehicle.
That's right. It proves the concept.
Okay, but let's talk about the audacity and the risk of building this kind of heavy industry in a war zone. What has Rheinmetall already done on the ground to make this happen?
They've been very aggressive. They founded the joint venture Rheinmetall Ukrainian Defense Industry LLC back in October 2023. And even before this Lynx contract, they had already opened a critical maintenance hub in western Ukraine in June of 2024.
Why is that existing hub so important?
Because it's the foundation. It's already servicing Marder IFVs and Leopard 1 tanks. But more importantly, it's the training ground. Rheinmetall has already been training Ukrainian mechanics and mechatronics engineers in Germany, and those specialists are now staffing that hub.
That's how you build an industrial base. Skilled, local people who understand the standards.
You build the human capital first.
So what's the timeline for moving from maintenance to full production?
The plan is to launch the Lynx production plant by the end of 2025. It's a tight timeline, but it shows commitment. The CEO, Per Jaeger, has been clear on the scale needed, though.
What's the magic number?
He stated that full localization, we're talking manufacturing the actual hulls and turrets, not just final assembly, that only becomes economically viable with orders of several hundred units. He specifically mentioned 200 to 300 vehicles.
200 to 300 IFVs. That is a massive undertaking. I mean, forget the security risk for a moment. What about the logistics? Training thousands of workers, securing supply chains, all under fire.
It's an enormous challenge. And it really speaks to the long-term vision here. This whole strategy is a bet by the German government and Rheinmetall on Ukraine's ability to defend these assets. The calculation is that the risk and the cost are outweighed by the long-term benefit of supply chain security.
And the Lynx isn't just an isolated deal, is it? It fits into a much broader commitment from Rheinmetall.
That's vital context. Rheinmetall has become Ukraine's most important defense industry partner, period. It extends to the most fundamental need of this war. Ammunition.
Hundreds of thousands of 155mm shells, 35mm air defense rounds.
Exactly. And the ultimate test of this industrial integration is the ammunition joint venture.
The Ukrainian Center of Excellence for Ammunition.
Yes. A joint venture, 51% Rheinmetall owned, designed for domestic production of a 6-digit number of 155mm shells every year. So if you localize production of your main fighting vehicle and your main ammunition source, you are taking massive steps toward defense autonomy.
You're securing your ability to sustain a high-intensity conflict over the long term.
You're integrating completely into the European defense ecosystem. The Ukrainian minister, Oleksandr Kamyshin, said it best when the maintenance hub opened. He said, "We believe that the Ukrainian defense industry is a part of the European defense industry, which strengthens the system of collective security of the European Union. The Lynx program is the physical embodiment of that vision."
So if we tie this all together, the arrival and the planned production of the Lynx KF-41, it's really the moment Ukraine fully plugs its mechanized force into the modern European defense industrial base.
It is. By choosing this high-tech platform based on modularity, scalability, and protection, they're setting a new, much higher standard for mechanized warfare in the theater. It's a permanent move away from legacy Soviet gear.
So what does this all mean for the wider defense world? Here's a final thought for you to chew on. The Lynx KF-41 is currently a contender in the massive U.S. XM-30 program, the competition to replace the American Bradley IFV.
A huge, huge contract.
So since the KF-41 was chosen and combat endorsed by Ukraine after battlefield testing, while its competitors are still vying for NATO contracts, what does that combat approval mean for the future of IFV standardization across NATO? Ukraine just gave a major Western defense platform a real-world stamp of approval, and that carries an immense amount of weight. You've been listening to Defense Report, where we analyze the latest in military strategy, global defense, and advanced weaponry.
Perspective. Subscribe to Defense Reports, your go-to source for timely, in-depth military and defense reports. We'll catch you next time.